Welcome to Simple Conversations with ASG.
Before you start listening to today's episode, I need your help. We're quickly approaching Christmas and the 1 year anniversary of Simple Conversations. A staple in this show has become the question, what's annoying you this week? And I want to celebrate that with a twist. I have some repeat guests lined up to discuss everything that's annoyed us in 2024, but I want to know what annoyed you this year also. In the description, there's a form that will allow you to participate in some of the special episodes I have lined up. Anyway, that's enough from me. On to today's conversation. So tell me, who is Scott Fryer?
So, Scott Fryer. Who is Scott Fryer? Well, I am 37 years old. I am from the UK. I am an ex-army sniper. I'm an ex-firefighter, an ex-prison officer. I've worked offshore. I kind of still do a bit of offshore dabbling when I need to. But predominantly right now, I'm kind of into the freelance and online content creation, sort of like AI side of things, building content for brands, freelancing for certain influencers. And that's kind of me, really. Train every day, even if I do kickboxing or the gym, play a bit of football. But yeah, that's kind of me, really, mate. Just trying to better myself every single day, make a load of money, become a success of myself. That is Scott Fryer.
So what's annoying you this week, Scott?
What's annoying me this week? So, as a short answer, I'd say the weather, the UK weather. That's pretty shit at the minute. It's cold, it's cloudy, it's miserable. But if I want to go to a deeper sort of level, what's annoying me this week, I would say I'm not where I want to be and I'm not where I need to be in regards to business and my own development and my own journey. I've just managed to land quite a famous sort of like client to freelance for. And that's good news, but ultimately I think we all aren't happy as a man. I don't think we're happy until we're successful all the time. So this week I'm a little bit, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? Am I on the right path? But yeah, that's what's annoying me, the weather and the kind of journey where I'm at the moment.
Worlds apart problems, but pretty common, I would say, in most people. This is a bit of like a fever dream hearing this because I was watching a clip while I was waiting on you to join of Joe Rogan talking about people who aren't where they need to be, and they're like,
Mm,
he spoke about it, but he had someone he was talking about in specific, and he was saying that when the person eventually then did become successful and stuff, they had like massive regrets and couldn't enjoy it because
mm,
at the time when they were worrying about getting to where they wanted to be, they weren't enjoying what was happening or like learning about
mm,
things or trying to get better at different things. So
mm.
it seems to be a common problem, but I don't know if it should be a problem. I think it should be something that you should be happy enough that you're actually trying to do something. Because believe me, there's a lot of people that do absolutely nothing.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And I think when you become a success or if you have a certain landmark that you hit and you're really happy, I think you look back on the journey and the struggles and you kind of enjoy it and you kind of realize what you've come through. And I think a lot of famous people, these kind of like rich entrepreneurs, these big social influencers, they all say like having things isn't fun, but getting things is fun. And I think that kind of resonates a lot with me. Like when I do get the money I want, the cars I want, and the lifestyle I want, I think I'll look back at this journey and think to myself, yeah, this is the good stuff because I've kind of been through all the bad days to get this good day.
Yeah, for as long as we've been following each other, you've been very consistent on that kind of I want everything and not leave everything
Mm,
behind kind of mindset, and it's always been something that I've came back to and looked at in your tweets because a lot of people do have the mindset, but it is a little bit of curtains over a dirty window. It's not really true though. It's kind of like a fake facade a lot of people have. But seeing Jesus Christ what you do in your tweets and stuff, you can tell that you actually do want that kind of lifestyle. Where do you think that comes from within yourself? Is it the jobs you've had? Because you've had some pretty brutal jobs, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, I think for me personally, I mean, I follow a lot of famous influencers, and we can name them if you want, but I see what other people have and the life they're having. And then when I used to work like a 9 to 5 or was in the army or something, I always worked hard. I always had physically demanding jobs, but the payoff at the end of the month in the salary never reflected the hardship or the work I went through. So obviously during lockdown, everyone was on TikTok, locked up at home, and I was watching these influencers, obviously Andrew, Tristan Tate, Justin Waller, and I'm watching these people and I'm watching them flying to different countries, having a bunch of nice cars, the lifestyle, and I'm thinking to myself, I could do that. I'm as old as some of these people. I've got the motivation, the dedication, and drive to do that. It's just kind of like getting the knowledge in place and making my own path and my own journey. So I think for me it was a case of seeing what others had and the lifestyle they had, and thought to myself, well, I'm outworking these people because I'm either a firefighter, a police officer in the army, or a manager in the NHS during lockdown, which was particularly brutal. And I'm not getting rewarded for it. So if I'm going to put all that effort into the crapper side of the jobs, then I might as well put the same effort and energy and get rewarded to kind of suit the lifestyle I want.
How much did your fascination and urge to try and get out of the UK play under that? Because your tweets are it's almost every 3 days. You always say, I can't wait to make so much money, I can leave the UK behind.
Yeah, I think it's during COVID. I think like we all have our views on COVID, and we can go down that rabbit hole if you want. But on a surface level, I would say it was kind of like the mild flu, and it didn't kill as much people as what they were purporting it was going to do. So for me, I was like, if they're going to control me, lock me down, keep me in my house, have people dying around me who I knew, who I didn't know, and then they're going to do that so easy. Like the only thing to get out of that is the freedom to travel, the money to have that freedom, multiple passports in multiple sort of countries, and I think that's the only way you can kind of get out with these sort of things. Like, the old adage was live off the grid, live in one place, but I think now it's the opposite. I think you need to have multiple passports, multiple contacts in different countries, and if there's a lockdown in the UK, you can potentially use an American passport, or you could use some random Taiwanese or Chinese passport to get you into, say, Hong Kong or Thailand, so you can still have the freedom what you obviously you want to have, and what every human being want to have, the freedom to move, travel, go to the gym. Because during lockdown, even going to the gym was taken away from us. Going to the shop with your partner was removed from us. So yeah, I think lockdown really hammered into me the fact that the UK is kind of not the place I want to be anymore. But again, going back to that surface level thing, I think it's the weather as well. The weather, the lifestyle. Like for me, I'd much more be. Sorry, let me rephrase. I would be much more happier in the sun and have struggle, and if I was having struggle in the winter and the rain and the grey skies.
Yeah, you can tell the weather affects everybody in the UK and Ireland because, I mean, even if you just go on holiday somewhere, you go traveling for a few days into like a different country like Spain or Italy or France, people are
Mm,
so much nicer. It's just
mm,
so much nicer. They do everything differently. The people in the shops can't wait to see you. Like
mm,
I don't know if it's solely based on the weather. The fact that you look out your
mm.
window every day and see a grey sky is probably not great for your sanity, but I don't know. There is a definite correlation there, and I would love to see if there's a study on it. But that is the main thing people say whenever I ask them why do you want to leave the UK or they want to leave Ireland. It is weather and seeing better, like seeing just nicer buildings and stuff around you. Like there's a lot of
Mm.
people I know in Australia, and they've said that the difference in waking up, opening the curtains, and seeing a building that's like modern and well built compared to seeing a burnt out shop that's got painted on windows to make it look like it looks nice. Like it probably will play a massive part, I would imagine.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. And I know, and I'm sure everybody who listens in the UK, if they're listening from the UK, when you open the windows and you see a blue sky, your mood is immediately lifted, and you make better plans than if you open the window and there's that grey, foggy blanket across the sky. So I think weather at a surface level is one of the most important things for anybody waking up. Like in the summer in the UK, or like the 5 days of summer we have each year, they're much happy. They're much like happier days for us than when there's like the grey, depressive, dull sort of cloud. So yeah, absolutely.
I want to talk a little bit about these jobs you've had because you've got a resume of jobs that I don't I don't know if I ever knew it was possible before I started speaking to you. But so you've been you've worked for the fire service, you've been a police officer, you managed in the NHS during COVID, which is a big one. You've served
Mm.
time as well in the army, and you work on oil rigs as well. Like,
Mm.
what is it? Why are you so involved in the public sector? Like, what is it that you're so involved with?
Well, and I totally agree. And I'm 38 in 2 months, so I've had a good at least 20 years of where I can work. obviously I wanted to join the army from school straight away. I was in the army cadet, so I joined the army from school at 16. So I joined from 2003 to 2011. I joined the infantry. I became a sniper in Afghanistan, served in Iraq. And I think if you're in the army, you kind of come out and you want to be amongst like that brotherhood and that teamwork anyway, because you've had that banter, you've had that camaraderie, you've kind of had the friendship circle and the dark humor, the good days, the bad days. So immediately I thought I'm going to come out and be a firefighter. It didn't quite work out that way. I came out and I worked for a steel company for some money, and I made some good money working in that industry. And then I went to the prison. I also went to the prison service and was a security guard inside my local prison. So I used to escort contractors onto the wings. So if they were like fixing a light bulb or if they were doing some maintenance in the toilets, I would obviously search the contractor at the gate, give him a pat down, metal detector, etc. Then I'd take him onto the wing, unlock the wing, take him onto the land, and take him into the cell, um, build up a rapport with the inmates, and then as soon as the contractor finished his work, I'd take him out, research all his stuff. So that was another little like a job I've had there. I've done that for a couple of years as well. But then after that, I went into well, this is the thing. I was a firefighter, but I was like a retained firefighter, so I was on call. So I done that. I done that as well as the NHS. But we're a busy little village where we are, so there was a lot of firefighting. Most nights we get call outs. The pager would go off in the night. You'd get to the fire station as quickly as you can, and you'd obviously attend the call out, and then you get paid for that. I was lucky enough that it was very busy. There were lots of different fires, car crashes. We live in a rural community, so there's like your bumps and shunts, elderly people falling downstairs. You need to get like doors like smashed in to rescue them. And then after that, I kind of thought, okay, well, let's give a go at the police. I was seeing a lot of crime in my area. Again, another rabbit hole we can go down as to why crime is increasing across the country.
Definitely.
But yeah, there's a lot of crime now, and I just thought to myself, I've always been that sort of person to give back to the community. So obviously, in the fire, going back a little bit in the fire service, I won Firefighter of the Year in some local awards. So I won that, and I thought to myself, well, I can use this to leverage it to the police force, because the policeman at the scene recommended me for a Royal Humane Society and a police commissioner's police commissioner's accommodation. So I kind of won them awards, Firefighter of the Year. So moving into the police force seemed like natural progression. So I done the police. I done that for a year, and it wasn't what I thought it would be. I found a lot of people, and I'm not speaking for every person, but I found a lot of the police I worked with were lazy, unmotivated, and kind of bogged down with paperwork. On the surface level, meeting them, they were all fine individuals, men and women, but they were bogged down with so much bureaucracy, so much paperwork. Even if they went and like investigated someone shouting on social media at them, you had to fill in 2 bits of paperwork. You had to do a computer program. You had to file this, file that, and there was no actual policing. And I joined the police because I wanted to go out and patrol and kind of keep the community safe and have that visual presence. But it was like, no, unless it's a grade A and someone's immediately in danger, you're going to be in the station doing paperwork and filling in reports from something you've done a week ago. So the police kind of made me a little bit disillusioned, and I quit after a year. So that was that. And then obviously I needed some money in fast, and I kind of had a meeting with myself and thought, what can I do to get money in and have at least bosses or infrastructure or least sort of management riding my tails, which is what I got in the NHS, which we can speak to in a little while. So working on an oil rig for really good money with hardly any kind of control. Of course, there's health and safety, but you're on an oil rig on your own or with another partner. You do the job and then you go back inside, or you go outside, and you could be on an oil rig for 2 or 3 weeks before you even get called to the actual rig floor to do your part of the job. And then once you do your part of the job, you go back inside, and yeah, you just kind of spend a lot of time in your room, a lot of time on your laptop, which is when I kind of joined the real world, which is when I started to get an X account and started to build up a following on X. I was on the offshore oil rigs, and that's kind of where it's gone from there. Like now and again, I still do dabble on offshore jobs. I haven't been offshore since before I went to Florida and Miami and Orlando, which is about 6 weeks ago. So I probably won't be going offshore anytime soon. However, if there's a good payday there, I might go back into that sort of thing. But to try and kind of branch off your question about the public sector, I think I was a bit disillusioned at the start, thinking that you can do good deeds and get paid and rewarded very well. But I can tell you right now, the fire service, the police, even the army, the NHS, you'll be lucky to get £2,000 a month after tax. And I wanted more than that.
That's insane. Like that is like a value that there are people leaving university and schools making that kind of money. Like, and to think of people who are actually trying to save this generation and the next
Mm,
generation, not making that much money, not being rewarded, that is actually insane. But that was what I was kind of alluding to whenever I asked you earlier about why you wanted to make all this money and stuff and leave the UK. I think that was where it was coming from. But
mm,
with I'm gonna break this. I'm gonna break down these different jobs because I'm sure there's some experiences on there that are insane. But
yeah.
so the army at 16, this is something that I always kind of want to ask people from the UK on it, because in America they're all very like, they're very headstrong naturally, American people. So when I ask someone what's it like being in the military or something, they've got a very different mindset. If you're a sniper from the UK, where maybe our mindsets aren't as bulletproof,
Mm.
how do you get yourself in the frame of mind of, I want to be a sniper, I want to serve for my country?
Well, I don't think this is. It wasn't for me. It wasn't like I wanted to be a sniper. I was just happy being an infantry soldier in a regular platoon. But after Iraq, people quit the army, as they do. People go on tour. They're away from their loved ones for 6 months, and they think, no, I'm going to get out. So a lot of people signed off after Iraq, so then it freed up positions in other parts of the regiment. One of my best friends at the time joined snipers. And obviously, I got kind of like a, well, do you want to come as well sort of thing after he was established there. So it was for me natural progression to then kind of want to leave the rifle company to go into the sniper platoon.
What was it like serving in Iraq?
Iraq was very much peacekeeping. There wasn't really any daily threats of like gunfire hitting you. It was more of roadside IEDs. So every time we went on patrol in these cities and towns just to show our face, it was, are we going to get roadside bombed on the way in or on the way out? So we had to make sure we didn't set patterns. We obviously covered each other's backs. We was normally in two Land Rovers, what they're called snatch Land Rovers, and we'd just go around the sort of like the streets of Basra where I was based, with southern Iraq, and we'd just kind of peace and minds, heart and sort of like, you know what I mean, hearts and minds,
Yeah,
peacekeeping, just walking about, because obviously so when I got there, this in 2004, the kind of the war was over, but it was more militia. So Saddam's army was toppled, but there were still militias and gangs, and there was a lot of land up for sale sort of thing. If you're a local militia, there was a lot of place to be kind of to make your mark, and I don't know, sell drugs, sell weapons, try and get in with the police, and obviously have some corruption there. So I think the British Army was a case of just peacekeeping, keeping the city safe, keeping the country safe. It wasn't. I was never shot at once in Iraq, but there was incidences where there was like potential roadside bombs. Other patrols in my company went over roadside bombs. My friend dealt with a very bad roadside bomb where he had to try and save someone's life, and he didn't, and he died in his arms. But for me, Iraq was kind of looking back at it, however many years ago this was. It wasn't a hard tour. I had a girlfriend at the time who lived in America. The only hardest thing is when was I going to get some time to talk to her on MSN back in the day, the MSN Messenger, because we never had Facebook, we never had anything. It was just talking on MSN or MySpace. So Iraq was kind of a sunbathing tour, what we'd call it. Obviously Afghanistan was a lot different.
yeah. So yeah, Afghanistan was different compared to Iraq, where you were kind of there in case anything kicked off.
Mm.
But so, how did you deal with understanding that Afghanistan was different? Like, how long did it take for you to realize we're not just on a holiday tour here now? And how did you bring yourself to like, deal with that? Because it's going to be a big jump.
Absolutely, mate. I spoke to this on my own show only last week. When we got to Afghanistan, we all felt kind of bulletproof from Iraq, because it was only about 9 to 10 months later we mobilised back to Afghanistan. We came back from Iraq. We'd done our training. We went to Kenya to get acclimatized for Afghanistan. We went to Afghanistan, and it was a case of, yeah, we've had a good tour in Iraq. No one's died. We're fit, we're healthy, we're young, we're kind of ready for war. But then I remember it very clearly. One of the soldiers who I didn't know personally, but obviously I knew of him because he's in my regiment. He was killed in the first couple of weeks, and that was like a massive come to Jesus meet. And that was like, oh, this isn't Iraq. This is what it is on the news. We are going to get shot every day. We're going to get RPG'd. We're going to go over roadside bombs, and this is the real deal. And that's when it really sunk in. And majority of people, including myself, thought, "Fuck this! I don't want to be here anymore. This is actually real. The fun and games are over." Like there wasn't in the era of taking pictures and stuff and showing it all on social media what it is now. It was literally you had nothing, so you was over there on your own, and you was thinking, "Shit, how can I get home?" But we couldn't get home. We had 6 months. So Afghanistan, that's when it really hit home that Afghanistan was going to be a very dangerous tour taking on the Taliban.
If you are enjoying this episode, follow and rate the show.
Yeah, and I suppose if you're with, you mentioned obviously earlier your like the brotherhood and the camaraderie of
Mm.
it. When you're in that situation where you've realized, right, now we've got to really go on at this now, this could get dangerous. Are you fearing more for yourself or the people that you've spent so long with and you've trained with and you've built that brotherhood with?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, mate. Like, I always felt like I'm always, and a lot of these soldiers will probably say the same thing. They always felt like it will never happen to me. No way, that's never going to happen to me. And I guess that person in hindsight can never say, oh, it did, because obviously they've been killed. But for me, I was like, this will never happen to me. Never happen to me. No. And then the closer it got to home, like one of my best friends, Darren, he was blown up from an IED. It went through the bottom of his vehicle where he was sat in a chair, and it killed him outright. And there was nothing left for his family to bury at home because it was just literally took him into, I would assume, mist and a few teeth, which is obviously horrific. But yeah, for me, I was always like, it wouldn't happen to me. It wouldn't happen to me. I mean, in hindsight now, 37 years old later, you know how fragile you are and how easily that bullet could be hitting you. Obviously, being a sniper, I was kind of exposed on rooftops, etc. So I was taking a lot of incoming as well because the sniper were the eyes and ears of the battle. So me and my sniper commander Dean was on a roof one time, and we was in the middle of an ambush. Our company went into a village to meet with the village elders, and it was basically an ambush. We was ambushed from three sides, and we was on top of the roof. Me and Dean was, and we was getting RPGs hitting the side of the roof. They were hitting the trees above us, and that was full of leaves and debris and sticks and shit was falling down. And I just kept looking up because I could see Taliban only 150 meters, 200 meters away. Obviously, I had a bolt action rifle, sniper rifle, so what I was up shooting these Taliban who were running through this like graveyard in front of me. I was shooting them like every couple of seconds, but then I was getting so much incoming and so much RPGs coming. Dean was like, "Scott, get the fuck down! What are you doing, you fucking idiot? There's like, you're gonna get us killed, or you're gonna get killed yourself." But I spoke to him about this the other day, and he was like, "Yeah, you madman, what are you doing?" But for me, then you kind of feel, I felt invincible, like it's never going to happen to me. It's never going to happen to me. But looking back at it, I think, what a fucking idiot. Why was I? Now I value life more, and I kind of value my journey. I think to myself, why was my head not down? Why was my head not completely flat to the roof?
Yeah, kind of fight or flight and the Rambo mode came out and you thought,
Mm.
I'm going to save the day here.
Well, yeah, not save the day because we was outgunned and outnumbered massively. But it was a case of I was up there, and I could see Taliban who was running like 150 meters away, and we still had the rifle companies down below in the street. So essentially, me shooting and killing several Taliban who were coming round one side, I'm effectively eliminating the threat of them potentially again ambushing the troops on the ground. Luckily for me, we done a tactical withdrawal from that village because it was so the intense gunfire was so bad. We had to get me and Dean was only rescued because one of the armored Vikings, the armored personnel carriers, came in hot all guns blazing, and we jumped down to their roof and then got into the back. But even then, that leads on to another story. Obviously, we left the battle shaken, but no one's injured. No, tell a lie. The medic was injured. He was shot up the arse as he was going to help someone, but he survived. He was fine. So the medic was shot up the arse. He was injured out of action. But we got on the back of the vehicles. I kind of took my helmet off, took my body armor off, and was like, "Oh, thank fuck, that's over." I put my iPod in. I remember what happened. I had a gold limited edition iPod. I had a shuffle one. And I remember listening to Lily Allen. I can't remember what Lily Allen song was, but I was listening to Lily Allen, and then I heard this massive like thump and bang, and then this thick black smoke come into the Viking vehicle, because the Viking vehicle is like, you might have seen it as like two tracked vehicles, the front one, and it's towing like pulling another one at the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll normally see them in the ski, like when the army goes skiing, they're kind of like what they have in the ski resorts, but they've been obviously adapted to Afghanistan for their ability to carry troops in numbers over the rugged terrain. So I was sat in the back pod with a load of engineers, and obviously we went over a roadside bomb. The front part of the wagon took a direct hit over an anti-tank bomb, what the Taliban obviously left us, and obviously the thick black smoke was coming into our cab. All our like vehicle was on fire, and we couldn't. We tried to get out the back door, but we couldn't. So we had to climb out of the roof. But then we didn't know if we were in a minefield, because essentially one bomb could have been many bombs. Because when the Russians invaded Afghanistan before us, they heavily mined Afghanistan, and the mines from the Russians are still there today. So we didn't know if we was in a minefield. So we've got to kind of do a balancing act. Are we going to jump off this vehicle, which is on fire and about to potentially explode, or are we going to jump off into a minefield and get blown up as well? So we all kind of jumped out of the top of the roof. I got a very, very minor burn mark to my arm, which isn't anything to shout about. And I just jumped into the vehicle tracks, because obviously the vehicle tracks were a proven route. Like if it's been over that and the bomb's not gone off, that part of the track behind you is clear. So we jumped down, obviously retreated back to the last vehicle. But then obviously an A-10 tank buster from the American Air Force came along and put a missile straight into my vehicle, because you can't have the Taliban getting hold of the technology from our vehicles, like the radios, the weapons, and the sort of like the anti-bomb sort of technology what we used to have. So I lost my sniper rifle, my Bergen, my kit. So I was only left with what I was kind of wearing, which was a body armor, body armor, helmet, and a pistol. Everything else was obviously blown up by the American jet, what come in to kind of to destroy the vehicle even more, so the Taliban couldn't get their hands on it.
So when you come away from that tour, a action-packed jam tour, what kind of support were you given to adjust to normal life? Because seeing all that in a short space of time, that can't be. It can't be easy just to get off a plane and go and get a job now.
No, so the army back in when I got out, well, when we came back from Afghanistan, 2007 or 2008, forgive me, I can't remember the exact date. When we came back, there's a thing called decompression training. So you don't just go straight home and go to your wife and kids or your husband and daughters. You kind of go to a place in Cyprus, and it's through a mountain, and it's an army base through a mountain where a civilian can't get to and you can't get off it. And it's called decompression training because they give you as much beer you want. They give you like a comedian. You might get Jim Davison. You might get someone like Jim Davison come out there, tell a load of dark humour, some blue jokes and stuff. And you kind of have 5 to 6 days of getting drunk, fighting each other, taking out your aggression, going on jet skis, partying away from the civilians. So when you kind of get a chance to essentially decompress and calm down before you go home to your family, because of imagine if you went home from your family after 6 months of obviously fighting the Taliban and you've seen some horrific things, there's a chance you might take it out on your family and other people, which obviously some people did. They suffered from extreme post-traumatic stress, and I've got a couple of friends who have. But the majority of us obviously thank that system, what they have in place. But I would say from memory, when you get home after that decompression training, you have a week or two off, and then you're back into camp to try and kind of, I don't know, clean the weapons, do a bit of training for the next sort of thing. You go into like a rotation of training, getting ready for tour, coming back from tour. And obviously I got out, I signed off as well as I think some from, I can't remember the stats, so I'm not going to quote it, but there was a huge percentage of people what left the army after their regiment come back from Afghanistan, because I think there was so much death and loss, and not even just the deaths, but the injuries, from people losing legs, on losing limbs, getting shot, getting like hearing damage or a foot blown up or something. So these people just thought, no, I've been away from my wife and husband or whatever, and they've survived, so they're going to get out while they can. So a lot of people got out, and I was one of them.
Yeah, it's an understandable thing to be fair. Hearing now stories are crazy, and I'm sure there's more that probably a little bit too gruesome for my audience's ears. But so, where did you go after the army? Was it straight into the fire service, or did you do something else before?
No, this is where I went to like the steel company and working in the
Yes.
prison. Yeah, there was I think there was like 4 or 5 years of where I worked in the prison, and I went the prison service security was through an agency, but I had to be vetted, and obviously you had to pass security clearance, which for me being just coming out of the army wasn't a problem. But then I'd done the prison working at HMP Blunderston in Suffolk. I worked there, and I also then worked for the steel company, and I can't remember if I think it was the prison first, then it was the steel company, and then it was in the NHS with the fire service and the police a bit later.
HMP where? It wasn't that? It's not the famous video HMP, is it?
No, that was I can't remember. No, that was I can't remember what that was now. Yeah, that wasn't the
Wandsworth.
famous video. Wandsworth, that's the one. Yeah, the mine was HMP Blunderston. It was a Category B prison, but it's now been destroyed, demolished about 4 or 5 years ago, and there's houses there now. But when I was there, the reason why they got us people extra help is because they just spent stuff on like £7 million on a brand new laundry for the obviously the criminals to work in and to do the washing, and they also put sanitation toilets in every cells. That cost them several £1 million, and then obviously the government in power decided we spent 7 million, but we'll just piss it down the drain and close the prison. So it's kind of a waste of their 7 million.
What is Category B? How intense are these crimes?
So I'm not an expert in the category, so I'm not going to try and say I am, but obviously the category A is very dangerous, lifers. Category B can be like locals, and then category C and D is obviously your lesser ones. Blunderston was a B, so it had local people, but it also had a lifers wing. So there was a J wing where there's some lifers people, and I found the lifers who was in for either murder or attempted arson or attempted robbery, but someone's died or something. I found them the more peaceful prisoners because they were in there for their life and they just wanted an easy time. So they were the people who you'd get on with, and obviously the people who are in just for a year, the younger people, they were like they'd happily come in, have a fight, cause trouble, try and get a name for themselves, and then get back on the streets to reoffend or get back with their gangs or get back with their kind of crime family or whatever they were doing.
Yeah, the lifers had almost accepted this is my life now, whereas
Yeah,
the ones
absolutely.
that were maybe smaller time offenders, they were like, system's against me, this is bullshit type, so
Yeah,
they took their anger out.
100%. 100%. Yeah, the life is know they're there for 20, 20, 25 years, so they're going to have a comfortable 25 years.
So these people that are like acting out a lot and they're taking their anger out on the people that work there, how did the fear of being around people that were capable of murder and all these different types of abuse, how did that fear being around those people compare to being
So
in Iraq where you
every
didn't
man is
have to
different,
do
and woman, I
anything
will say.
violent,
So
but
for
there was
me,
always
it
the
was always,
potential?
yeah, yeah. For me, I was always I'm a confident person. I've got a lot of humor. I like joking. So for me, I'd always gone to the wings, and I'd always kind of build up a rapport. If you talk about the football or gym, they're best friends. You can't really go wrong. If you go on there, yeah, that's true, bro. Honestly, if you go on there and talk about football teams, a bit of banter, like you can take the piss out of them as well to an extent. They'll kind of be like, "Ah, oh, Gov, come on, Gov, or come on, Mister," and they'll kind of banter back, and it'll be a joke.
Yeah.
But if you go on there really serious, especially as a security officer and not an actual prison officer, if you go on there too serious, they'll pick you out and they'll say, "Oh, fucking look at this idiot. Who do you think you are?" And they'll just kind of see you as the grey man, and that's a kind of a bad thing if you're a member of staff. But if you're polite, respectful, have a bit of banter, talk about football, talk about a bit of current affairs, then like I always found I never had any problems. I never had any issues with anybody whatsoever in my time in the prison service. Not one convict, from what I can think of, said anything out of tone or anything bad to me.
Yeah, so you were almost acting as a friend, but there would also be people that work there that they would see that as giving up power, and that would probably make them a bit insecure. Did you see anybody else who you worked with kind of getting in confrontations with these prisoners?
I did, yes. There was a colleague of mine was a lot younger than me. Oh, he may not have been as young as me at the time, but he certainly had a baby face. Like he looked really young, but he was okay at his job, but he wasn't there to be he wasn't there to be a prison officer. So he wasn't there to bend them up, put them in their cells. He was there the same as me to go onto the wings and escort contractors onto the wings. But whenever they saw him, they'd instantly target him for being, oh, why aren't you at fucking school? Does your mum know you're here? Or just a just a sort of stuff like that. So maybe it was because if he was there that I kind of didn't cop any flack, but he had a much harder time of mine. And then there's a couple of people who are a lot older than me, like they are probably in their 60s and 70s, and they were like, "Oh, what's fucking Granddad doing here? What's Uncle Albert doing here? Oh, Father Christmas is on the wing." But it's sort of yeah, that's all just. Do you know what I mean? It's just all swings and roundabouts banter. If you gave it back and took the piss and say something like, shouldn't like for instance, I used to say, fucking hell, mate, you train every single day. Why have you got arms like that? Shouldn't your arms be bigger? Like just little jokes and little stuff like that. Or if I knew someone was a Man United supporter or an Arsenal supporter, would take the piss out of their football team. And then you can go a long way just saying like a bit of polite and a bit of banter. You can go. I think that's a lesson in life. You can go a long way. Like you see this day and age, this generation now, you see a lot of people with their heads down on their phones or their earphones in, and they've got no confidence about them. And like, if I bump into someone in the street by accident, I'll say, "Oh, sorry, mate," or "Sorry, sir," for someone elderly. And 9 times out of 10, the younger people will look at you in shock, as if like, "What? He bumped into me and he's apologising? Oh my god, I need to shuffle away before something happens." And like, but yeah, certainly in the prison service, if you're polite, confident, friendly, you're not going to go too far wrong.
Yeah, so you're in the army. You're in the army. Sorry, you bounce around these jobs with the steel company. You go under then the prison. It's then you go to juggling on-call fire service and NHS. What's the jump there? Like, what's that? Where's the differences here now? Because this is intense now, is what you go on to whenever COVID comes anyway.
Mm. Yeah, so obviously being in the prison service, the wage was quite crap because I was just a security guard. It was probably a little bit more of a minimum wage. And then my dad was in the NHS. He worked in the hospital. He still does. He was a security porter. So he was a security officer and a porter officer. You kind of combined in one. It was a bit more money, lots of overtime available. You'd do 2 days, 2 nights, 4 off. And obviously, at the time, I wanted the pension, I wanted the progression, I wanted to being from the army and the prison service. I thought, oh, I could do this easy because even then, like I haven't even mentioned this yet, but when I came out of the army, I also quickly got my door supervisor's badge, so I was doing a bit of door supervising of the weekends on my local nightclubs. So, but that's nothing. There ain't no story there to tell. It's just it is what it is. You know what a doorman does.
Yeah.
So I kind of just thought I can go to the NHS and have a career and go to as top as I possibly could. So that's where I went to the NHS. I got a job quite easily. My dad, obviously, back then, it was a case of who you know, not what you know. But with my CV at the time, the army, prison service, I was always going to get a job being a security officer. So I went into the NHS at my local hospital as a security and porting officer. It took me about 8 to 10 months, and I was immediately made supervisor. So I was in charge of a team of 5 security and porting officers, and that is where we can kind of move forward. And then, unless you want to talk about the duties in depth, we can then kind of move forward into as COVID kind of hit and what obviously we've done as supervisors during the pandemic.
I think jumping to COVID is the best way. I know there's going to be a lot of things there that we're skipping over, but I don't. I think there's going to be people from America that's going to be listening to this, and they're not going to realise the state the UK was on during COVID, and this would be a great way for them to find out.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you want to know? Where do you want me to start?
In general, like for someone who's working in NHS, what is it like being in that? Because from the outside looking in, it was just a bonfire that never went out.
Yeah, so that's a good description. But when we first started getting like a warning of there's a COVID case in Scotland, like COVID-19, you saw on the news every single day. You saw um, alleged people falling down in China. You saw body bags stacked up in Italy. There was this massive campaign of fear from the government and obviously the news. So obviously we was obviously at work shitting ourselves thinking, oh my God, it's coming here, we're going to get it. And I remember speaking to a very, very highly decorated doctor, a female doctor, and I was like, so what's the crack with this COVID then? Because at the time I just started listening to Andrew Tate online, and he was given one version of what COVID was, and obviously I was in it myself. So
Very
we
diluted
can talk,
version.
of course, we can talk about that as well later. But I was looking at this, and this doctor said, I'll tell you right now, obviously been an expert in diseases and stuff, she said, you'll have a 99.7% survival rate if you catch it. And I was like, right, so nothing to worry about. She said, there's a lot of things to worry about because we're going to get absolutely bombed by people with flu-like symptoms, scared. So she said, they ain't going to be the deaths what's going to do this hospital. That's going to be the people coming to the doors with the symptoms of a normal cough and cold who are absolutely fine. They've just got flu, but they're going to be so much scared about actually dying. We're going to run out of like the ventilators to treat the people with like asthma, or they're out of shape, or they're not as fit and healthy as they should be at their age. So she was more worried about like that. So when she said that, I trust her because she's a very capable doctor. And well, she was a consultant at A&E, so she was extremely capable. So then we first got our first sort of like person came. I remember this lady came and she was put on the isolation ward. Me being the supervisor, I had to open up the isolation, like the little hut where you kind of go in and they use a telephone to ring up the reception to tell them what their symptoms are so they can get treated accordingly as per the guidelines then. So it was one person, she had a mask on, of course, we all had masks on, which changed every single week, which we can talk about as well. She went into the isolation ward, and that kind of started from there. And then you fast forward a little bit to all the pots and pans, banging all the pots and pans on a Thursday night at 8 o'clock. You had obviously people coming onto the wards who were just flu-like symptoms. But I kind of need a bit of like guidance from you. Like, what do you want to talk about? Because I could just talk at length for an hour about it, or I could target the bits you want me to talk about.
So the main one I have in my head when I think of NHS and COVID is just the over capacitating issue, and the reason why I want to talk about it is it honestly is still a thing. Like the NHS hasn't really recovered really, and I
No.
think that you're probably the best person to talk about this because it was so at a point it was severely overcapacitated and
Mm.
incredibly understaffed at the same time.
Yeah. So what I'll talk about now is kind of like this part of the show. This quote I'm going to say could be the making of or breaking of me and you.
Oh
So.
no.
So, bro, I'm going to be completely honest. This isn't a lie, this isn't exaggeration, but being the security supervisor, especially during a night shift, but as well as a day shift, the security supervisor, anyone dies in the hospital, the security supervisor will get the box, i.e., a trolley with a thick cover over it, and they'll go collect the body from the ward. It was the security supervisor's job to collect the body from the ward, take it down to the mortuary, timestamp it, and then you obviously put the body off. You and another porter pat slide the body off the trolley, and you put it into a fridge, and then obviously it's all time stamped and dated. On that bottom of the slip is obviously the nurse or the doctor from that ward. Well, it would be a doctor who's declared them dead. And here's the golden sort of like area of the show. I would probably get 2 or 3 bodies a shift. Sometimes at night time, you find it. Anyone who works in the NHS will say the majority of people die in the middle of the night. That's just the way it is. So I take bodies down to the mortuary, 3 or 4 a shift. So I was doing that all through COVID. And I will tell you this now. I shit you not. Every single fucking body I took to the mortuary who was registered as death with COVID-19 was really old or out of shape, like obese, or they've had like an underlying health issue like a cancer or a severe respiratory. I never, and I promise you, bro, I never, ever, ever took one body to the mortuary who was a healthy man or woman aged between 18 to like 40. That's the truth. I'm not. I get nothing from. I get no gain from lying about this. That is the shit honest truth. I never saw one person. I never handled one body who was what the government was saying. It was striking down normal, everyday people, every day with risk. The people who I took to the mortuary, timestamp, put their body onto a shelf, were morbidly obese, extremely frail and elderly, or a previous serious underlying medical issue such as like a really bad asthma, kidney disease, etc., etc. So I never once had a fit and healthy person who was miraculously struck down by COVID-19. And I caught COVID 3 times. And the first time I went to bed and I thought, holy shit, I'm going to die. I feel horrendous. I couldn't feel my muscles. My eyes were closing on me. But I woke up the next morning and I felt amazing. But that build up to that night was horrific. So I'm not saying COVID wasn't bad for people, because if you are frail and elderly, or you are kind of morbidly obese, or you got underlying health issues, of course a bad flu is going to be obviously bad for
Yeah.
you, because obviously your body can't help that. But my argument isn't that. My argument, and what I put the tweet about several years ago, was the fact that me being there, working in A&E, having my office, the security office in A&E, all these bodies I took through the pandemic, not one person was fit, a normal person. You wouldn't say there was a normal person like me. I don't know your health issues, I don't know your history, but looking at you and looking at me, we have got no underlying health issues. I never met any man or woman from the ages of like a toddler up to their 40s or 50s who are normal. There was none of that.
Yeah, it would obviously impact older people a lot worse. Like, I
Of
think
course, yeah.
anything really, like they get cold weather payments for a reason. Like, if they get the flu, it's
Mm,
probably going to do something damaging. But I spoke about this with someone from work a few days ago. I had COVID too at the time, and I had it really bad at
mm,
the start. And the first 2 or 3 days, I was really worrying about it and stuff. But
mm,
I still don't know. I do have a lot of health anxiety, which probably didn't help things. But
mm,
I don't know if it was the symptoms I was having that was making me worried and nervous, or
mm,
any time you turned on the TV, it would be COVID
yeah,
flash alerts all the time. I
yeah,
think maybe
yeah.
I assumed this is what I have. Do you think that was maybe what people that were coming in with colds or like asthma problems were
Mm.
coming in for? It was just the government was scaring them more than anything.
Absolutely, bro. And I don't want to go too much down the rabbit hole, but I do think to an extent of it that like it was a compliant exercise. Like, it's never been tried before. Can we get these people to do what we tell? Can we get these people to do what we're telling them en masse? Like I have another story what I'm going to tell right now, and again, no reason to lie. I don't really care who believes me or who listens to this show and they believe me or not. But my friend, a good friend of mine, his granddad was in a nursing home, and he got a call. Well, this person's dad got a call because his dad was in the nursing home in Surrey, and said he's just died in his chair. He's just had an aneurysm, and he died. And this person and the dad said, okay, we're going to come and visit him as soon as we can, like, obviously sort this out, obviously work out. Obviously, I gave him the time off because obviously I was a supervisor. And when it come to going down there, this person's dad, who had the aneurysm, was moved hospitals without obviously the man's son, who was power of attorney, knowing anything about it. He was moved from a Surrey hospital to a London City hospital, and his cause of death was COVID. Well, he died of an aneurysm in his chair. But obviously, it's now come out, we can talk about it several years later, that anybody who died within 7 days of a positive COVID test, their actual cause of death was put down as dying of COVID-19. So imagine if I had a road traffic accident a day after proving positive and registering online as the track and traces you had to do. Like, if I died of an RTA but I had COVID-19 on the track and trace system, they put my death as COVID-19. But we know it's fucking bullshit, because it wasn't COVID-19, it was the RTA or the aneurysm or an elderly person falling down the stairs. So obviously now it's coming out, and that is public knowledge that anybody, even the government now admit that anybody who posted positive in 7 days of their death was COVID-19. So again, like, why lie? Is it because they want to, like, for me, I've got my own personal beliefs. There was a lot of people with a lot of money invested into these PPE companies, and are starting to leak out slowly about these famous people in the government who have got like friends have investments in these Chinese PPE companies. So again, it's a rabbit hole we haven't got to go down today, but certainly I think it was a compliant exercise, and I don't think they've been as truthful regarding COVID-19 as said they did. But then again, something like this has never happened before. So maybe they were just too over the top. Maybe they were just too much panicking. But to lock a whole country down and take away restrictions and have you going one way round Tesco's, one way round Asda, you can't sit on the park bench. You've got to be one exercise a day. Bro, I think that's fucking crazy. I think that's ridiculous. And looking back at it, the people who are clapping pots and pans on a Thursday night, what the fuck? Like, you look, that's absolutely crazy when you look back at that. But we did it. We done it. They managed to psyop an entire, well, country, our country and other countries in Europe. Like, they managed to psyop a whole country into, like, kind of giving up their right to live.
Yeah, this is something I think about genuinely 4 or 5 times a day. There's going to be a point in like 15, 20 years where I'm going to have to sit my kids that aren't born yet for anybody's purposes that are going to ask me to explain what COVID was. I don't know how I'm going to explain what it was. It was just this disease that for some reason the entire world got put on fucking holiday pay for like 2 years, and we all had to go for walks at opposite sides of the street with our friends. It's insane. Like, you had to sneak in the back door of a barber's house to get a haircut so the police didn't see. Like, it doesn't feel like it was real. Like, if I think back now, I have like memories come up on my phone all the time of photos of lockdown, and it doesn't look real. It looks like a movie.
Bro, it's a joke, and you're right. I was extremely lucky because I was working in the NHS. I was doing 2 days, 2 nights, and 4 off. So I was kind of lucky I was working and I had a lot of overtime being in the NHS. But I also, a good friend of mine owns a gym, and I had the gym. He gave me the gym keys so I could go train on my own, like away from everybody else. Obviously, I had the lights turned off. Excuse me, I had the lights turned off. It was dark. I could still get out and train. But you got to think, bro, it's not even just like what you've said and what I've said. Like, there was domestic violence. People think of these females who are locked in a house with someone who beats them. Think of these children who weren't developing and they were getting smacked from parents who abused them, or you had like one member of the family was an alcoholic and they were locked indoors essentially doing cold turkey because they couldn't get out. Like, I'm sure the domestic violence numbers went up. I'm sure like stress went up, post-traumatic stress. I believe a lot of people probably did suffer some form of post-traumatic stress from the COVID time because you essentially was put in prison, put in your own home. Mind you, a lot of people were going to B&M. Like, every fucker had hot tubs. I had the best garden in the I had the best garden in the fucking area. I had a hot tub, I had astroturf, I had a golf net, I had everything. But it's ridiculous because you look at these people who set these rules, and they were the ones who are kind of like partying at Westminster, having an affair with his secretary, and they weren't wearing masks, they weren't queuing up. But again, that's another reason why you want to be rich and successful, so you can kind of have a better life than the people who are abiding by these sort of rules.
One of my favourite things to watch, and I don't do this as malicious to him or anything, but watching him on SAS, Who Dares Wins, and he's sitting in the
Yeah.
room and they're absolutely fucking destroying him is
Mm.
incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. He deserved it. He done really well, to be honest. He had a bit of an attitude, but I think I think he done well. I think he did. He's a bit of an arsehole. He's a bit arrogant at first, but I think physically and mentally, I think he done well.
I think he brought it back a lot better. I think the way he handled himself, and I'm a celeb, surprised me a lot. He did, like
Mm.
he's one of the only people on the planet, celebrity and not celebrity, well, like in a position of power, that accepted they done something wrong. He fully was
Yeah,
like, I know I've done something wrong. Like, just give it to me now. I'm happy enough to take it at this point.
yeah. You look at Boris Johnson, that fucking idiot. Still now doesn't hold his hands up. He's got absolutely no remorse about locking an entire country down, keeping people away from their family who are dying. Like, imagine your mum or dad dying and you can't go and see them on their last breath, but he's having fucking glasses of champagne and karaoke's. Like, you cannot get a more unlikable, corrupt fucking dickhead than Boris Johnson because he still has no remorse. He has no
Yeah,
remorse.
they fuck themselves over a lot too, like, because the country it's still trying to get it away from a lot of the effects, and you could see even whenever Liz Truss was on for what, a month, she couldn't even handle it. Like, it went insane. Like, they they did at the time for what everyone thought it was. They done the right thing, locking everybody down. I do think they still went way too long though. 2 years with the world pretty much not operating as, I don't know how I'm going to explain it to anybody that asks me about it.
Yeah, but you had these experts saying it's going to be fine, but this is the thing. This is where you can go down this rabbit hole and these conspiracies, because there was experts out there who were silenced on X and Twitter, and it's only come out in the last couple of months that anyone who had anything like scientific to back up the fact that COVID wasn't the killer it was meant to be, they were actually silenced. Their accounts were shadow banned, and that's kind of only come out now. Obviously, Elon Musk has took charge. So why would the government put in so much effort to tell people, even though you're an expert, even though you're a tropical a disease expert, your opinion doesn't matter, only my opinion matters? Like, when you cancel one side of an argument, surely that's a tyranny, because you're not letting. Surely there should be two sides to every story and a freedom of speech. But when you cancel one side of the argument, that's a dictatorship, and you can't, like, you can't believe the shit they're saying if they're going to cancel. Like, obviously, is COVID real? Yes. One party, no, the other party. But you need to listen to the other people. You need to kind of let everyone else have their say, and that was kind of the thing what made me think, hang on a minute, maybe what this influencer like Andrew Tate, maybe Joe Rogan, what they're saying, these people are actually right, because the facts don't add up. And the fact that I spoke to a consultant at the very start made me kind of realise that it's not going to be the deadly virus where everyone's going to drop down the street dead. And if it was that disease, I wasn't going to be around long anyway, because I was working in a fucking hospital. So that's kind of why I was so blasé about it.
Yeah, I mean, you could talk about this for ages. There's so many different ways you could take it, and there's so many unanswered questions, but there's a lot of current affairs I think that's probably best for us to talk on. This one's not really current, but someone who knows this area a little bit, it's probably good to get your take on it, because it's all kind of blown over now, but the Trump assassination attempt where he got sniped on his ear, sorry. This is something that confuses me, because one of my guests was actually not far behind him when it happened, and he told me stuff about it that it's absolutely insanity that nobody saw the person. Apparently then there's an account somebody did see him, but he didn't look like he was a threat. And then the videos have come out of the Secret Service just doing nothing to try and get him away and stuff. As someone who's worked in the field of, as being a sniper, and they've got training on these kind of situations, anyway, kind of assassination attempts, were you looking at the aftermath and just thinking like that was just handled so badly, or was it just maybe a once in a lifetime thing?
I think it was handled badly by the Secret Service, but again, you can train for something all your life, and the one time the president's shot, you're gonna fight or flight. So no one expected Trump to get shot. Like, it's 2024. Like, the last person to be assassinated was obviously JFK in what, the 60s or 70s or whatever. Yeah. So, like, you think about this, and like, these Secret Service, they've probably never fired their gun or dealt with a real life assassin. But you'd think the whole word Secret Service mean they're elite, but these could have been people who'd left school and they've only done some training, etc. But look, I look at it and I thought to myself, oh wow, yeah, it does look like a legitimate sniper was up there. It does look like, but then again, from my sniper point of view, I think to myself, you wouldn't just have one sniper team. You'd have several nests of teams overlooking strategic areas. You wouldn't just have one sniper team looking at the next president. You'd have so much more. You'd have an inner cordon, an outer cordon. You'd have probably 3 or 4 teams up on roofs or up in like a crane. You'd have like a crane basket up in the air or something to get overwatch. So I think it was a real person. I think the sniper was real. I think he took a shot. I think the bullet either hit him in the ear or it missed very close. But obviously, with a bullet and the velocity and the way the bullets make up, when it goes through the air and it obviously breaks the sound. I mean, as a sniper myself, I shot people in Afghanistan, but when I've missed them, the velocity and the force from going past them have caused like a part of their cheek to come off, a part of their shoulder to come off, because of the caliber of round I was using. So I've missed the target, but still actually caused damage because obviously the velocity going through the air, breaking the, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, I think as a real person, whether or not they were put up to it, whether or not it was planned or he was allowed to go up there by the police, I find it very suspicious that the Secret Service only had one team up and they didn't see him and it took so long to shoot. I think he would have been, a good team would have wrecked the site a day before. They would have realised that that roof in particular was a potential weak point, and they'd have either put their own team on there, or they would have literally just made it completely inaccessible to get up there, or they would have had a team watching that part of the roof. And the fact that it took so long to get a shot away after Trump took a shot or two, after Trump was shot at several times, because I believe a firefighter was killed as well.
Yeah.
He took one of the bullets. So again, these conspiracy idiots from the left who think it was like a blank gun of like or then he wasn't shot at all and it was staged. I think they're fucking crazy, and I think they need to go check themselves into some form of hospital, because I think you could clearly see and hear the gunshot. It was a real bullet was fired, but what we can argue about is, was it planned or was it allowed, which is where over the coming years we may never find out. I'm 37 and we still haven't got the JFK details fully declassified yet, so who knows? And Trump, we know Trump is upsetting a lot of people. He's you can say he's good for the country. I personally think he's going to be on the good side of history, but a lot of people don't think that. So it would make sense that he had an assassination attempt on him by these like fucking liberal woke ideologists who are crazy. But who knows? But what I do know is that was a real bullet and it was a real gun, and the person may have been flapping, he may have been sweating, so he missed, or it could just been, as Trump said, a bit of luck from him turning to the side and it grazing his ear. But yeah, that's kind of my views on it. Incompetency on the part of the Secret Service mainly. I
Yeah,
can still hear
seeing
you.
people, I'm making sure, seeing people claim it was fake was so funny to me. Like, I think that
Mm.
it showed how far removed we are from reality through social media now, because people saying it's staged and fake. No offense to you, Donald Trump's not going to get shot in the fucking ear to increase votes. It's not going to happen. It's not a publicity stunt. He's got all the publicity in the world. Says anything and everybody listens. So never made sense to me. But the thing that I'd want to now transition into something else that's happened in the UK, but it does link into this out of touch. Philip Schofield getting put onto an island by himself to explain his story. Give me your thoughts, Scott. Give me your thoughts.
I think oh, right, where do I even start about trying to get this show cancelled?
I don't know how to even. I didn't know how to bring it up, because the first thing that was in my head was that fucking announcement video thing he done where he's just puffing on a Lost Mary constantly, which doesn't make fucking sense either. But I haven't watched this TV show purposely because it's a groomer on an island. It doesn't make sense.
And you're right, bro, and I'm glad you said that. Regardless of whether he had sexual relations when he was a child or not, it's irrelevant. He was grooming, he was talking, he was taking a person out. Even when this kid was 13 and he was working backstage, the fact that you're talking, building a friendship, building a relationship, even as friends, that is still grooming, because you've got a duty of care over that youngster. So when you then go sleep with them and turn into some sort of relationship when he's 18, 19, you've still essentially groomed him when he was a young boy, because that's why he fancies you, that's why he likes you, that's why he finds you attractive, because of all that flirting and all that build up to it. You didn't just turn up on a night and just sleep with somebody, do you? There's always a start, there's always a middle, there's always the text, there's always the secret sort of stuff in the background. So the fact that he went on this show it was a fucking disaster. Like, why do I want to see a paedophile talk about how he's been thrown out to dry? He's a convicted. He's a paedophile. Here's another thing. You got Hugh Edwards as well. These are paedophiles who are protected by the establishment. Like, what he done is wrong, morally wrong. Even if you say, well, I only physically slept with him when he was 18, it was legal. Yeah, but you cheated on your wife with a boy. He was in his 40s or 50s, Philip, and you cheated on your wife with a young boy, and now you're on a show trying to be the victim. And he wasn't even on the island on his own. He was sat there in his little fucking tent with his hammock with his little phone up to his face. He wasn't. He had a producer on the show. He had a team on the island. He had a camera crew on the island filming all the aerial shots. He had drones up. He's just a convicted paedophile who was protected, and he tried to resurrect his career. How many paedophiles in the prisons are getting TV deals and movie deals? No, that show done him no favours whatsoever. And I think, just like Jimmy Savile, another paedophile who's protected by the establishment, deserve to be in jail. There's no question.
Yeah, it just blows my mind. I don't even know how to give my opinion on it. I don't actually know what my opinion even is on it, to be honest. It doesn't make sense to me. It feels like somebody's like wrote it down about a paper and I'm not sure it was true or not. But I don't know if now this is I don't know. I'm gonna have to try and create a term on the show for conspiracy theories because I think I've spread a lot and a lot of my guests have too. So, are you blocked on Twitter by Carol Vorderman?
I am now, yeah. I am.
What did
Yeah,
you
I
do?
am.
How did you manage
So
that?
she's a massive like fan of Labour and she's very woke and liberal. And she was saying basically agreeing that all all immigrants come to the UK, illegal or not, should be looked after and given homes. And I just kind of interjected on one of her posts and told her her name is Carol Open Borders Borders, and she should stick to consonants and not politics. And she blocked me, which is
Jesus
fine
Christ.
because she's no relevance to my life, and I'm obviously no relevance to her life. So she blocked me because I called her Carol Open Borders Borders and told her to stick to consonants.
Yeah, you're very quick with your what on Twitter. Like some of your comments that come up in my following tab is it leaves me in stitches. Like, but I don't want to comment underneath them because I don't want them to the fucking shit. But what you've obviously got your own show now, and you mentioned at the start that you're trying to do this content creation and freelancing things.
Mm.
Have you had any kind of like kickback about your opinions and the way you speak? Because you're very straight to the point. You're not really going to hide anything. I wouldn't say controversial. I'd say you're open with your opinions. Does that bring any kind of pushback from the people that maybe come across it?
I don't think so. Of course, I'm very aware of the more people that follow me and the more people that listen and engage. I need to be careful because, as you know, from these riots we had recently, because of that Southport stabbing, the police were locking people up for their tweets and stuff. So I've got to be careful. But I think because of my background in the police, I can have an opinion on the police. My background on going to war as a country for the right or wrong reason, I'm allowed to have an opinion. And some of my opinions are going to be agreed by others, some are not going to be agreed by others. So, of course, I have to be careful and mindful. I am now monetized on Twitter, X, so I do get paid for my views. So, if I say something like I agree that dog is ugly, that's going to get maybe 10 views. But if I twist the word, add a bit of satire, me saying that dog is ugly XXX, I'm going to get millions of views, which is then going to increase the money I get. So some things I say not for effect because I still believe in what I'm saying, but I certainly know how to get a reaction from an audience. And calling Carol Vorderman Open Borders Borders obviously got a certain reaction with that.
Yeah, you can tell that you can construct your opinions in a way that it doesn't seem offensive, but there is an underlying tone, especially with
Mm,
the tweet that if anybody knows you from it, Twitter, they'll know the tweet of when you're talking about Keir Starmer and talking about how
mm.
you've been involved in the public sector and you don't feel like there's enough appreciation, and that got crazy, crazy exposure. What was the reception like from that? Like, I know obviously I've read the comments and stuff, and it's been incredible support. But what were the messages like? Were you having people coming and pushing back, or was it a lot of support?
Bro, I was offshore at the time. I wrote this tweet when I was offshore, and obviously I'm working a lot offshore. I can't have my phone on me all the time, but I just literally wrote this tweet, just a random opinion, being a ex-public sector worker, and just saying how embarrassing the country's become and how embarrassed he is at how he's running the country. And I sent this tweet out, and then every time I checked my phone, it had another 100,000 likes, another 20 or 30 followers, and I don't even know what the numbers are now, bro, but I know it was in the millions, and I know I got loads of followers from it, and I got a little bit of kickback, like the odd comment, but I think 95% was all in my favour. I was getting shitloads of reposts, shitloads of likes, and I can't even remember any of the negativity. I just thought it was all like people agreeing and reposting me, and I got loads of like followers from a certain side of the society, and for just saying my opinion. And do you know what, bro? I'll be honest, I can't even remember what I wrote. I don't know if you've got it wrote down in front of you, but I can't actually remember verbatim what I said.
No, I don't have it in front of me. I remember I like briefly looked over it today because I wanted to get a gist of what the comments looked like. And the comments were all really good, to be fair. And for a post that's
Mm,
got like, I think it's got like just over 2 million views now on X. Like,
mm,
it's not often you see something with that much support.
mm,
So now, so I think the last thing I actually want to touch on is something more that I need educated on than anything else. So you are involved in Andrew Tate's online university type thing. It was called Hustlers University. It's called the Real World now. What what is it like? Because I've been talking to a few people who used to be in it whenever it first came out, and it was just like a
mm,
Discord. But it's an actual
mm.
reward system now, isn't it? There's some kind of chess innuendo or something, isn't there?
Oh yeah, so I can talk about the real world at length because obviously I've been a member of it over a year and it's made me some considerable amount of money. And it's an online educational platform and it teaches you about if you invest in crypto, it teaches you content creation, it teaches you AI, it teaches you how to build an e-commerce store, it teaches you how to like leverage like day trading as well if you're like a day trader. There's also a fitness camp in there, and there's also a general sort of like chat area. Every different campus has got a certain like chat area. So you can talk to people who are on your sort of journey as well from the top or whether you're an expert. There's also a social media and client acquisition campus, which is obviously what I went in, and it's allowed me to monetize my ex and have a podcast studio and kind of yeah get some money from social media because I just literally joined the. I've always liked Andrew Tate's message, and we can argue about certain points he have on certain subjects, but predominantly he preaches a good message, and I think he will be on the right side of history, as will his brother Tristan. But yeah, so the online portal is really good. Like if today you said to me, like I'm going to start an e-commerce store, I want to, for instance, drop ship, or I want to sell my own products. Like say you've got your own hoodies and t-shirts you want to sell. Well, this is like short form content videos. You join that campus, that e-commerce campus, and there's a professor in there who will there's like different video sections of literally the introduction right up to managing your store and bringing on members of staff and even selling your store. So it's all broken down into very easily digestible short form videos. So for me, it was a case of clicking on a video, writing some notes down, watching the 3 or 4 minute videos, then implementing it on the shop what I was building through Shopify, and then obviously going through it step by step, like do a bit of like writing down, pausing a video. And the thing is, bro, you can't go to the next stage until you've kind of digested what's in the first bit and kind of passed the knowledge test. Because if you just skip through it because you want to like upgrade your ranking, then it gives you knowledge tests at the end of it. So you have to say about this part of the program, what is this aimed at, or what is the meaning of copywriting? Like, can you give me an example of a pain or a desire with regards to copywriting, or can you give me an example of how an AI automation bot would benefit this business? So you need to kind of do your research and actual study as if you was in a real university classroom curriculum. But bro, it's really good. Yeah. That's just an example. Like, I went into Dylan Madden's social media campus first, and that's how I kind of managed to reach out to a coffee shop locally, and I managed their social media for a few months, and I made a couple of £1,000 English currency by managing some content for them. I used some copywriting from another campus, how to write copy, which is obviously if you want to sell something, you need to know how to sell something. Obviously, you need to play on someone's pain or desire. They're either like a pain would be, I'm fat, I'm overweight, I'm gonna buy them resistance bands because I want to get skinny. A desire could be, I'm selling these donuts, they're amazing. How can I make someone desire and want these donuts? There's obviously a psychology behind it, and it just teaches you how to dive into that psychology. So I managed to create a new drink for a coffee brand, and obviously the company loved it, and they were selling their drink. The shop I made up, the drink I made up was obviously called Ghost of Christmas Past, and it was like a mint hot chocolatey type drink with a little bit of a flavouring in it. And obviously I done all the copy with regards to like diving back into the history of the coffee shop and trying to bring a Christmas mystique into it. And I wouldn't have even thought of that or even done that if it wasn't for the copywriting campus and the social media campus, combining the both to bring a client on board. And again, like I said, it made me several £1,000s by leveraging this client who live locally. But again, you're taught how to approach these businesses. You're taught how to send an outreach. You're taught how to like build up a platform and make a landing page of, like, I don't know, John Smith's AI services, or John Smith's e-commerce platform. That I've built an e-commerce store for a brand as well, and I was obviously compensated for that. So in whole, it teaches a lot of good things. And the people who out there who hate the program and hate the platform, they will say you can find all this information online. And do you know what? I fucking agree with you. You can find every single thing inside the real world online. However, you're paying your $49 for the fact that it's all laid out in front of you in a structure, in an easy to read format. That's not a 60-minute YouTube video. That's not some bloke who's selling you a course to then have to give you a Discord to like then open more videos. This is very layered and very structured and very set out correctly. Before you go on to the next part, you have to pass this, that, and the other. And there's also an accountability in there as well. Like, you have to go in there in the mornings and like do like a progress update. And yeah, so in short, that is the real world, and I recommend it to anybody, even if you don't last as long as I've I'm still in there. I think if you just say, for instance, you want to build a shop, or you want to just say, for instance, yourself, if you wanted to monetize your X, there's a whole bunch of lessons in there on how to monetize your X, which I followed, and I've now monetized my X. I wouldn't have known that without the course. The money I've spent in the real world is not as much as the money I've made each month by X. So I've already got my money back, and that's without the content creation and the managing of the coffee shop. So that's kind of my summary of the real world.
Incredible. Scott, this is now your moment. Your floor is yours to plug anything you want to plug.
Bro, when people ask me this, I really didn't know what to say, because I didn't really plug anything. But if you want to follow me, I'm mainly active on X. My X handle is SF7 Creative, and I have a weekly and sometimes nightly show what I part that's called Upper Class by Scott Fryer, and we talk about business, politics, finance, entrepreneurial stuff. That's all on my X. I have an Instagram, which is SF7 Fitness. I don't have a YouTube. I have a Rumble account, which is again Upper Class by Scott Fryer. So if you want to find me on anything, if you want any like freelancing done or anything, hit me up on my socials, and you can find me there. Thank you.
Follow your new favorite interviewer with the link in the description.